What's up, everyone? I'm James Young with JamesYoungPhotography.com, and I'm bringing you episode number 24 of Teach Me How to Lightroom. Today, we're taking a look at this cosplay portrait that I took. It's a nighttime portrait. We use some off-camera flash, and we're talking Moody color grading today. Don't forget, there's a link in the description for the raw file so you can download this exact image, follow along, maybe take the edit in a completely different place. I'd love to see your edit. Make sure you post it on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. All of my social media is down there in the description as well. I'd love to see what you post. So let's get right into this thing. Right off the bat, I'm totally happy with the composition. The subject's head kind of falls right into a third there. I could crop in a little bit, but I'd rather just keep it the way it is. Zoom in 1:1 here, you can see, lock that focus in at f1.4, shooting 85 millimeters, getting that real shallow depth of field. So the first thing I want to do, I scroll straight to the tone curves, and next to point curve here, I just click linear and we change it to medium contrast. That just gets us started here. So I'm just going to scroll back up and we'll make our way through the basic module. So with the total exposure slider, I'm just going to leave it where it's at. I'm totally happy with the in-camera exposure here, so we don't have to do anything crazy. But with contrast, we're going to crank it up just a little bit to about 45 or so. There we go. Let's leave our highlights exactly where they are, and we'll bring up our shadows quite a bit to about 55. Whites are staying where they're at, and the blacks are going to come down about -20. Perfect. So as we make our way down to presence, we're going to take the clarity, we're going to drop this just a little bit, about -10. That's just going to clean up our edges a little bit, the mid-tone contrast. And the reason we're doing this is because this is a portrait, and the mid-tones typically fall into the edges of objects, and in this case, all the various edges that are found in skin tones. So increasing the clarity is not something you typically want to do with portraits, so we just cut it down just a little bit. Now with the vibrance, we're also going to cut this down just a little bit. Let's do about -15. There we go. That's just going to cut down the cool tones just a little bit. And with the saturation, we're just going to leave it where it's at. So this is really the premise of the basic portion of the edit. Now we're going to get into the fun stuff. Let's start split toning, and we're going to add that real cinematic type look and give it that moodier type look using split toning. So let's scroll down. And as soon as we get to the split toning module here, we can start playing. So with the hue slider on the highlights, where we're gonna go is towards the warmer area of the spectrum here. So somewhere around 55, 60 or so. There we go. Now that's for the hue. And for the saturation, I'm gonna double click to put it to 0. And let's go about to 20. There we go. And you can see here, it's already taking a huge effect. So let's turn that off, turn it back on. Just adds a lot more warmth, obviously, to the highlights. That's the exact thing we're going for. Then with the shadows, we're gonna do kind of the opposite. We're gonna go towards the colder side of the spectrum, around this blue area here. And let's try to land somewhere around 215 or so. There we go, 215. And with the saturation, let's just make it around 40 or so. 42 is fine. Okay, great. So you can see the split toning super powerful there. Let's turn it off. Let's turn it back on. You can see it really casts a crazy color grade to the image. So let's round out what we've done here. Let's scroll back up and adjust the total color temperature here. It started us off at 6300 Kelvin. That's what the camera read. And then +19 on magenta. I'm just gonna turn off the magenta cast entirely here. So put that at 0. And then with our color temperature, we're gonna add more yellow into the image. So let's go around 70, 50 here. Perfect. So you can see by adding more yellow to the image, it kind of knocked out all the blue that we added into the highlights. But we're gonna bring that back right now with one of the last things that we're gonna do to achieve that real moody cinematic type look. Now in our tone curve, we're back here. We're gonna give this a matte finish. And the way we do that is I'm gonna take the node second from the left here, double click on it to remove it. From there, I take the node that is all the way to the left and just start raising it a little bit. Now you don't have to go super high, especially because you can see here in the histogram, the vast majority of the information in this image is in the blacks and the shadows. So we don't have to go super high. You don't have to go like this or anything. It's just gonna completely destroy the image. So let's be real modest with this. Somewhere around here. And it brings back a lot of that look. So that's the basis of this edit. If you like where it went, you can always make a preset out of it. Just click plus on your presets and then follow all the on-screen instructions and use it for a preset in your images to follow. But there's a couple more things I want to do to round out this image. And I think a gradiated filter will be the perfect choice. So I click gradiated filter, and next to effect, I'm just going to double click and it's going to zero out all the nodes. And let's do about -1 on exposure, so about 1 stop. I see here I have a little bit of light leak from my light here that I used, and I'm going to draw a graduated filter from the bottom right-hand corner of the frame going up towards the top left of the frame diagonally. So there we go. Fantastic. Let me turn it off. Let me turn it back on. I like that. It just helps round out the image. Obviously, it's not quite as dark as this left side here, but that's okay. We can always lower this if we wanted to and really make it perfect, but I think this helps in making the subject really stand out of the frame. And then if I wanted to go on and print this image, I would turn up the sharpening up to around +70 or so, just to make it real sharp so that when I print it, I don't lose any quality. It makes for a fantastic print. Well, that's it for this edit. If you enjoyed it, if you learned something, it would be awesome if you left a like on the video. And if this is your first time checking out one of my videos, it would be super cool if you subscribed. Well, I'm James Young with JamesYoungPhotography.com, and this is Teach Me How to Lightroom.